y'all should know by now that this season is already ending. If y'all didn't know, where the fuck have y'all been? But anyways, the season's ending, so let's talk about it. What's good, everybody? I'm the Rage Quit God, back again with another season review. You already know how we do this, so we're not gonna stay on this part too much. Firstly, we're talking on the Battle Pass. First skin that we got from the Battle Pass is the Apprentice Eevee. I myself personally don't really like Eevee as a character or as a skin personally, but here she is. I'm pretty sure that the reason as to why they made her into a mashup skin, like, you know, with a Star Wars character and made it Eevee also, it's because I think she had some ties to Star Wars back in Chapter 3, Season 3. Like, when Darth Vader was on the island and all that stuff. She had some ties to it, I think, storyline-wise. I have heard rumors that the Apprentice Ray skin was supposed to be the Tier 1 skin instead of Apprentice Eevee. But if I had to guess why they changed this, I feel like a lot of people, this is from the Marvel season, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were upset about the fact that majority of skins, or at least a decent chunk of them, were mashups rather than original characters that people were wanting to finally come to the game. So, and Epic probably, even though a lot of people like Eevee, Epic might have had an idea as to why, yeah, Eevee probably would not sell very well in the shop, so they decided to put her in the Battle Pass, problem solved. But yeah, Eevee, not my skin, but what do you guys think? Next is Poe Dameron, who, I know this guy, he's played by Oscar Isaac. Great guy, by the way, but, my man's here. I think he looks great. I think his set is pretty well done. I don't know too much of who these characters are, because I still don't know Star Wars, but, I think the skin itself, yeah, because I'm looking at her just by the skin. I like his glider, and because I like the actor Oscar Isaac, I think this guy looks great. Call it bias if you want to, but that's just me. Then we got Wookiee Team Leader, which out of all the skins in the Battle Pass, I think this one is considered the worst. People like Chewbacca, but this girl not so much, and I'm pretty sure the only reason she exists is because they saw an opportunity with, you know, Cuddle Team Leader, so they decided to do this, making a Wookiee, you know, in the Cuddle Team Leader mashup, which I don't think is, you know, resonating with a lot of people. She looks very weird. It's like, you know, like a little mascot Wookiee rather than being an actual Wookiee. But yeah, I don't like her. But, here she is in the Battle Pass. I like her back bling, though. I'll give her that much. Now, the level 50 skin, because the equivalent to level 100 this season is level 50, that would be Emperor Palpatine, who I've actually been wanting as a skin for a while now. I think he looks alright. He's, you know, because of his little robe thing that he's wearing, you know, like, because of when he does some emotes, it kind of looks weird. But I think that's fine, of course. Palpatine, I think, is well done. I like that he has a Force Lightning emote, but the Force Lightning emote to me is a little bit disappointing, and I wish they could have done it a little bit differently. Also, whenever I see this guy, I think to myself, unlimited power! Ever since that got in my head, I just can't stop thinking about it. But Emperor Palpatine himself, I think is one of the better skins in the Battle Pass. Last but not least, my favorite skin out of the entire Battle Pass, General Grievous. And of anybody we probably could have gotten in the Battle Pass, I feel like my dude was probably considered the least likely, because my man has, like, you know, the 4 arms and all that stuff. He's got a built-in emote and all that stuff, and a pickaxe that's like these little, you know, pole things or whatever. But, something I did see some people upset about is the fact that even this guy, he's all about collecting lightsabers, and yet he doesn't have any cosmetics relating to a lightsaber besides his wrap. So we can get a wrap that, you know, that has the little beam from, like, the lightsaber, but not as an actual pickaxe or an emote or anything like that, which I saw so many people upset about. The one good thing about this guy, at least also, is his other edit style, the Warlord Grievous. I believe this is Fortnite. This is the actual first time you're actually able to play as this version of General Grievous, from what I've heard, which I saw people happy about. One thing that people aren't happy about is what this guy looks like in LEGO. They decided to make him into a minifigure instead of his giving him his iconic build, which kind of makes me sad, but that's just how they decided to handle him. Overall, the skins in this Battle Pass, of course, it's, you know, like 3 less than, you know, standard Battle Passes. But with that said, I think this Battle Pass was pretty okay. The mashup skins, I feel like, is what makes me not like it as much, because I don't think a lot of people like those skins too much. But the other ones, the original Star Wars characters, people like, and that's good. That's it for the Battle Pass skins. Now we're gonna talk on the weapons. And an interesting thing about this season is, all of the weapons were replaced. Instead of, you know, having bullets, they are all laser rifles. that don't require ammo at all. They just kind of overheat. So this is the first time Epic had ever vaulted ammo into Fortnite, which that's something you don't really expect to hear every day. First, we're going to start off with this here, the DC-15 Heavy Blaster Rifle, which is basically the equivalent to just a normal standard AR. There's not really much to say on the weapons here because most of them are just literally reskins of already existing guns, just with infinite ammo and shoot lasers. But firstly, we got the DC-15 Heavy Blaster Rifle, basically just a normal AR. The A280 CFE Blaster Rifle, another AR, and an enhanced version, of course, that can be also, basically a mythic. The ACP Scatter Blaster, which, when I say scatter, assume that means shotgun, because, that's what it means. Of course, it's a shotgun. The BARM ST-12 Scatter Blaster, which, the shotguns this season kind of feel weird, if you ask me. Maybe I'm just not used to, the shotguns having infinite ammo and all that stuff, but these ones don't feel as strong as something like the pump, which of course that's considered the best shotgun that we've ever had, of course, so that's kind of the thing I can compare it to. I don't know. But I don't know, the shotguns feel off this season. We have the CR2 Blaster and the E11 Blaster, which are basically the equivalents to SMGs. We have the DLT-19 Blaster Rifle, which is basically just another assault rifle. The DL-44 Blaster Pistol, which is just a pistol. There's also a enhanced version that you can actually get from the Shogun X floating island, which I'm not sure why they didn't just make him into like a Star Wars themed boss. They just kept him as Shogun X still, but he drops the pistol, which is pretty strong. The F11 Blaster, which is basically just another SMG. We also got a mythic version from Captain Phasma, the IQ-A11 Marksman Blaster Rifle, which is just another assault rifle and a mythic version. We actually got a new force power this season, which is actually Force Lightning. The way it works is very similar to stuff like the Thanos Beam, the Godzilla Beam, the Doom's Chosen Arcane Beam. I believe this was leaked since Chapter 4 Season 2 with the original Star Wars Find the Force event, and now we have the Force Lightning. This is technically a new Force ability, that being the Force Saber Throw that you get whenever you join Darth Vader with the dark side and all that stuff. So that's technically a new power, even though we've seen that with just his raw lightsaber before, but I digress. We have the Thermal Imploder, which basically works as, well, kind of like a grenade, except it'll actually implode. It'll actually pull in people from like the nearby area, and then explode, kind of pushing everybody back. I think it's an interesting weapon. I'd like to see more kind of like it, because that's kind of different. Next is the Captain Phasma's Blaster Medallion, which this here basically just kind of makes it to where your blaster rifles, they don't overheat or anything as quickly as it did before. And if it does overheat, it deheats pretty quickly. Kind of a pointless medallion when you could kind of just have multiples of the same gun and then just kind of spam it. We also got some vehicles here, that being the Imperial TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. The Imperial TIE Fighter is actually a 2-seater, while the X-Wing is a 4-seater. Basically reskins of the X-Force Stormwings, which are the planes. But these things are kind of powerful. If you know how to use it right, then you can kind of just basically have a little dogfight in the air shooting down another ship. We also got the Llamaton, which I didn't even know these things had a name. Basically, it's these dead llamas that are around the island that you can just jump in, kind of like a bush, and just heal up over time. It heals you up a lot more the longer that you're in it, which is kind of a weird thing. Not sure why they killed llamas just to make this into a thing. Next, we got a new shotgun, which is the CA-87 Jawa Scatter Blaster, which is basically a pretty powerful shotgun. I believe when it was leaked, it was said that it'll basically one-shot people. It doesn't always and all that stuff, but it can get a lot of damage to the point where it feels like it could always one-shot people. But when you shoot that one shot, even if you have the Captain Phasma's medallion, this thing will overheat and immediately need to cool down again. Then we got the Westar 34 blaster pistols, which are basically dual pistols that just, are infinite ammo. I believe these belong to Jango Fett, which, he is not a skin, but, it's a reference to him, I guess. Notice how I'm also not bringing up a bunch of the other weapons, such as the Wookiee Bowcaster or the Ambin Sniper Rifle, because a lot of this stuff we had already seen before. The only difference is some of them have like nerfs, like the ambient sniper rifle, which is the Mandalorian sniper. You can't use the melee attack with perfect timing to like save yourself from fall damage anymore. And the Mandalorian jetpack just doesn't have infinite fuel anymore, so it eventually runs out and all that stuff. So I'm not bringing up some of those because, you know, we've already seen a good chunk of this stuff before. The last thing I'll actually bring up, this technically is considered a weapon here according to the Fortnite wiki, but it's kind of like Godzilla here, that being the Star Destroyer bombardment. Basically, you just enter a portal, kind of like Godzilla, and unlike Godzilla, if you actually have teammates with you, it will actually pull them into the Star Destroyer too. You're then following a set path above the sky, and you can actually just kind of rain down, you know, hell on people. Kind of like it's the orbital cannon from GTA Online. Unlike Godzilla, you can't really fight this thing. You just kind of have to stay out of its way to make sure you just don't die, which I did see some people complaining about that, but I don't know. That's an interesting idea for sure. They did make it to where if you're using it alone to destroy people, it does a lot of damage, but if you have multiple people with you, it doesn't do as much damage because I think they knew that people would, like, you know, spam this and have it be pretty OP. Overall, the weapons that we got throughout most of the season, just the new ones, are just kind of like reskins of stuff that we've already had before. I like the X-Wing and TIE Fighters and all that. The Thermal Imploder is cool. I love the Force Lightning. The Star Destroyer Bombardment is pretty cool too. But the rest is just stuff that we've seen before. Just reskins or just bringing back old weapons that we've already seen before. So it's nothing really special to me this time around, the weapons this season.
Next up is the map. As for the new POIs that we have, they are Vader's Samurai Solitude, which replaced the other Solitude place. I'm already forgetting what it's called. The Resistance base all the way at the top left, the First Order base on the top right, and the Outpost Enclave on the bottom right of the map. Of course, there's a few Stormtrooper outposts every here and there, and, you know, throughout the map. The First Order base is where you can fight Captain Phasma to get her medallion. The Vader's Samurai Solitude is where you can actually fight the originally Samurai of Darth Vader. Now, the normal Darth Vader, and he's actually somebody I'm going to talk on, actually. But overall, as to the map changes, I have seen some people complaining about how the map didn't really change much. So, yeah, that's kind of it, which, you know, is kind of an expected thing with each season. I feel like back in Chapter 1, they kind of changed the map a little bit more, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Somebody can explain it to me in the comments. But what do you guys think? Do you think these map changes are good? Bad? I think they're okay. I wouldn't have minded a little bit more, though, personally.
Now, the way this mini-season was actually separated was actually basically per week, kind of like, you know, Fortnite OG was back in Chapter 4. The first week was the Imperial Takeover, which was basically, well, the beginning of the season, of course. They introduced the whole, you know, like a Darth Vader Samurai being in his BOI, the Force Push, and the Force Lightning. The second week is the Pull of the Force, which had introduced Chewbacca on the island, I believe, the Force Pull, and the Force Throw. Week 3 is the Mandalorian Rising, which actually gives us one of the most customizable skins we've seen in a while, which a lot of people like, the Mandalorian Warrior, which of course has a lot of customization. I did a review of him if y'all want to see that. So many people love this guy. I heard a lot of people saying that he's one of the best customizable skins that we've had in a while, when it comes to collabs at least. And in this Mandalorian week thing, we did see the return of some Mandalorian weapons, such as the Ambin sniper rifle, the jetpack, and the dual pistols. In the background, we also have seen one of the portal things that Daigo went to last season start to activate a little bit more, so that might tie into the finale event that we're going to be seeing soon. Fourth week is the Star Destroyer Bombardment, which is where, you know, the one where you can actually access the Star Destroyer, you know, kind of like Godzilla. The thing is pretty powerful. I already showed gameplay of that. And then we have the Death Star Sabotage, which I'll speak on a little bit later. Some other highlights that we've also had throughout this season, we had actually seen in the shop, the return of the season shop, you know, the way you were, you know, how it worked with Renegade Raider, where you had to gain XP to be able to buy it. And this time around, the skin that you were able to get was Darth Jar Jar. I saw a lot of people kind of mixed on this. People were happy about the fact that we were going to be getting Darth Jar Jar, but I saw people upset about the fact that he was tied to a season shop, basically. You had to buy, you know, like get XP first, and then you can buy him. There's no option to buy him all at once,
with like a bundle, even if you got all the XP, he can return to the shop at a later date without the use of, the season shop XP thing. But people were thinking that to themselves that, like, something I've actually heard is that, the player numbers for this season, even before Fortnite Mobile returned, that this season's numbers were kind of low. So the Epic people were thinking that maybe Epic was doing this just to try to get people to get back to playing the game. But what do you guys think about that, though? Do you think that theory is valid? Do you think it's not the case? I don't know. Another thing we also had this season that I should also mention, because I mentioned it 2 seconds ago, Fortnite Mobile is finally back after like 5 years. We haven't seen it since like Chapter 2, Season 3. That's where they were basically, for the past 5 years in the Fortnite season. Now it's back. And it's, it takes a lot more space, because, Fortnite isn't what it used to be back then. But, yeah, Fortnite Mobile's back. Log in, you can get a skin for free. But I do have to wonder this, though. I'm sure in these past 5 years, while Fortnite Mobile was gone, a lot of people probably moved on from it, and probably got like a new console in that time or something like that, a new platform to be able to play Fortnite on. I'm curious if those same people are now moving back to mobile. I know a lot of people are playing because there's a big market for, mobile games, but I'm curious if those people who have been playing on Fortnite on something else for the past 5 years are moving back to mobile. I doubt it, but just an idea. This season, we also saw the FNCS skins, as we always do every season. This time around, it is actually of Clicks, Booga, Lachlan, and Loser Fruit. This was for the Fortnite Pro AM thing, which we haven't seen since, like, 2018, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly. If you actually went there, like yourself, not like a digital thing. If you yourself physically went there, of course, you would actually get a code for the Axe of Champions, the original one, the yellow one, not the one that you can get in shop right now. It can return to shop at a later date, but that is actually a really cool thing. I'm curious about what you guys think about the Fortnite Pro AM. Are you guys interested in Fortnite competitive like that? What do you guys think of them making FNCS skins the actual icon skins or something like that? Personally, I don't keep up with competitive too much. The last time I actually watched it was for the Fortnite World Cup back in 2019. Man, what a time to be alive for Fortnite, at least at that time. Of course, we can't talk about this season without talking about the Darth Vader AI that's been on the island. And this has been an interesting topic of controversy. So how the Darth Vader AI works, basically it replaced the Samurai Darth Vader that was in the Darth Vader POI. It replaced it with the normal Darth Vader. You kill him like normal because he has the exact same moves as the Samurai Darth Vader. Once you kill him, he doesn't really die. He just kind of kneels down, gets back up, and then opens a portal for you to enter. You get the Force Throw, and then you actually get Darth Vader to join your team, and now you can actually press a button to then talk to him. And this has been an interesting topic for controversy, like I said before, because of the whole AI thing. People saying that, like, even though James Earl Jones gave permission and stuff like that, his family consented, that they shouldn't have done this. I have heard people suggesting that Epic might not have anything to do with this. This could be purely Disney, which it very well could be. That's probably the more likely or accurate reason if you ask me, and this has people wondering, is Epic going to do this again in future seasons? Are they going to replace voice actors? As to if Epic will do this again, I don't know. It might be for like legal reasons that they'll do it again. I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna replace voice actors at all. I don't think Troy Baker is gonna lose his job. I would at least hope not. But this whole thing, it's a long conversation that I'm not gonna have in this video. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Now we're talking about the live event that we saw this season. This being the Death Star Sabotage. It was a pretty decent live event if you ask me. Very reminiscent of Skyfire if you guys are into that. So this event starts with you basically flying around in either a TIE fighter or in a X-Wing. Kind of playing a little mini game while you wait for the live event to start. But we're not going to focus too much on that. The live event starts, we're actually flying into the Death Star. We get ourselves either disguises as either a stormtrooper or you can become a prisoner. Got a few objectives that you need to do. Got a few objectives that you gotta do. You gotta sneak in there. You gotta take out a few stormtroopers. Then we're actually fighting Palpatine. He destroys basically everybody, but then we still stop him in the end. Once we do, we're out of the Death Star, and then, well, we blow it up. But some of the debris actually falls into the Daigo portal that's been actually kind of activating as this season went on. It exploded,
and that's the end of the live event. And we actually do see a teaser right here of actually the new movie Superman that's coming soon. There is already leaks of, new Battle Pass as of me saying this portion of the video, but that's the live event. Again, it's very reminiscent of Operation Skyfire, which I think is cool. I like Skyfire. I like this one too, and I'm really excited for the new season. But what do you guys think of the event though? Now, to summarize everything I just talked on, the Battle Pass I think is pretty okay for what it's supposed to be. It could have been better. The weapons are interesting for sure. I don't really know what else to say on it. The vehicles I actually thought were pretty cool. The map changes could have been better. The weekly changes, where they slowly drip fed content, I think was fine, but I don't like how it was just content we've already seen before. I like Darth Jar Jar and Custom Mandalorian, but I feel like they didn't need to lock it behind the season shop. We got FNCS icon skins. The live event was great. And this entire season, if I had to give it a number, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. The reason I'm saying that is actually because, not that I hate this season, but I really don't like how most of the content was just stuff that we've seen before. We didn't get too many Star Wars skins, but one could make the argument that they didn't release too many because, I guess they didn't really release, I guess overwhelm us with too many Star Wars skins. The live event, of course, we've seen something like it before, but I'm not going to say no to a live event. We all love live events. And that's pretty much it, though. That's where I'm going to leave this here. What do you guys think about everything I just talked on? Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know with a like. Comment down below what you thought about everything I just talked on. If you'd like to support me in the Fortnite item shop, my code is RageQuakeGod. And I'll see y'all next season.